Hello and welcome back to my Let's Play of Hitman Reborn Battle Arena. Where we last left off, we were doing an episode on Lambo, and we were talking about how most of Hitman Reborn is still unavailable to the West, as well as why Lambo is kind of a really bad character, but I'm not 100% sure. There's barely any coverage for this game, so it's really hard to say whether or not he's good or bad. And considering how this game kind of like is tied together with shoestrings and glue, I'm not going to really debate it. If someone says how good Lambo is if you do XX and X, then I'll take back what I say. But for right now, we are playing Yamamoto. Yamamoto is a very different character from Lambo, which his main gimmick is aggression, as well as like getting people in a very groggy state. So I think I mentioned before how groggy works, but for a reminder, groggy is a state where you take more damage, as well as you cannot really block, but you also take more chip damage as well. You can kind of block when you're in a groggy state, but it's just like you already lost most of your guard, so you don't really want to be in a groggy state in general. There are a few attacks that automatically put you in a groggy state. For example, if you use Chrome and you grab someone, it will put them in a groggy state. But typically, the best way to get into a groggy state is when you lose all your yellow bar. So the thing with Yamamoto is he's a character that hits really hard, but also if you block against him, he does a lot of guard damage. So essentially, you're facing a character that you rather not block against, but you would rather take the hit from, or just dodge in general. Sorry about that. If I had to give a proper comparison, it would be kind of like Gold Lewis from Guilty Gear Strive, where essentially you do not want to block any of his attacks because you'll just be locked in a box, basically. Yamamoto is kind of similar, but he doesn't exactly lock you down. He can constantly stay on you though. He has multiple tools to do that. Like for example, his waterfall move, his summer rain, I think it's summer rain, rush move. As you saw just there, like it does so much chip damage. So much chip damage. So like again, you don't really want to block against Yamamoto. And essentially, this is why I will kind of call Yamamoto. Why am I calling him Yamamoto? It's Yamamoto. And so like fun fact about Yamamoto, his name means peace. And this is kind of my easiest way to remember it. His name is Yamamoto and not Yamato. And it is because Yamamoto means peace. So, the ever peaceful character he is, it makes sense that his name is Yamamoto. Just a small little fact. But, like, see, even that special doesn't really do a lot of chip damage. As you can see, he does massive amount of damage when you hit as well. So it's kind of hard to say what's the best approach to fighting him is, besides just don't get hit. In the FGC, we have this rule where hey, why did I get hit by this? what do I do in this situation? And the answer sometimes is just, why you let yourself get in that situation? Sorry. It's kind of toxic, but it's basically like, you should have gotten in that type of situation in the first place kind of way. Or you could have prevented it if you did numerous other things, but you did the one thing that allowed them to get in that situation. That type of thing. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. When we last left off, why am I saying that? Basically, it took a while, but I had to get some people out of my office. Sorry about that. What were we talking about again? Sorry, it's been a cut and a half. I think we were talking about the mechanic of Yamamoto. Yamamoto is like a really hard-hitting character. He does a lot of chip damage. You just generally don't want to block against him. And as you can see, like when it comes to clashes, he doesn't really pull punches. He typically will win clashes if it's against Submarine, which I think is the name of the lunging move. So my best recommendation when it comes to finding Yamamoto is two options. Option A, don't block. That's just a general option. But option A is zoning. Just constantly zone him out. Even though he has a teleport, it's a set location teleportation. It can also be countered. I'm surprised Ryohei. Well, actually, I'm not surprised. Ryohei just is weird in this game with how his clashes work. But yeah, you typically want to either A, zone, or B, just constantly be on him. Because the thing about Yamamoto is he doesn't exactly have a DP, so you can actually just constantly do aggression on him, just constantly stay on him. The only problem is that he can also just as much space you out, zone you out until he gets metered for this move. When Yamamoto has full meter, you kind of just want to get as much ground as possible. That way you can avoid his special as much of the damage as you can, because it damages distance space, not just like a one hit thing. So like the best way I can describe it is like, if you ever play Marvel vs. Capcom, Palm Breaker does more damage the higher you are in the air. Something similar to that. What else is there to talk about for Yamamoto? I guess I should talk about this because it is something that is very different when it comes to anime and manga. Yamamoto might be the character that changed the most, and it's mainly because of how much of the context that they removed from him. In the anime, they very much make him a very ditzy person. I would say very ditzy and airheaded. It's not that he's like dumb or anything. Well, in the anime, they kind of just borderline make him dumb. But he's more... Oh, that move has super armor as well. Shoot, that move is great. But it's not that he's dumb. It's more that he's very much not inclined to think as much. Like he's not the type to like waste his thoughts on a topic for too long, which isn't a bad thing or isn't really a I completely forgot about that one move. Yeah, that move that you see me just sweeping the low. That's a special move. I just forgetting its name right now. But Yamamoto is definitely the most changed character when it comes to anime and manga adaptation. Anime very much make him very airheaded and loose, and his interactions become very calming and very he's just a very calming person rather than the type of character he is in the manga, because his first interaction in the manga is asking Suna, hey, and I know I said this in the Suna episode, talking about how some changes with the manga and anime, but Yamamoto gets changed the most because of this fact. So like one second. Sorry once again. But as I was saying, the main difference is when Yamamoto asks to get advice from Suna, the interaction on the school top is very much different. He jumps because in the anime he jumps because he just accidentally fell. He wasn't actually intending to jump or anything. He wasn't really even saddened or anything like that. He didn't even get his I think it was his leg broken in the anime. He's pretty much peachy fine, and the baseball game is to prove that he's fine. But in the manga there's always this air of like a bit of despair because he can't fully do everything he wants to do. Like, and every time he's faced with a challenge, he's kind of just like, he doesn't want to bother his friends whenever he's faced with a challenge. He's very much a person who's like, when he's challenged by something or he's faced with something that he can't necessarily do on his own, he's typically kind of just clams up a bit, and you don't really get that in the anime. In the anime, they kind of just make him very, not shallow, but very much I'm trying to think of the right word. He's very serene when it comes to like losing as well as being encountered with something that he doesn't understand. This is why, like, in the manga, it's very clear that he does not take well to losing. In the anime, he's very much more open to losing. He sees everything as a new experience, and he's very open-minded. Whereas Yamamoto in the manga is kind of closed-minded. I don't want to fully say closed-minded because that's not even the right word either. But closed-minded might be the best way to describe it, because he's more so, he doesn't really fully think outside the box, but he will be willing to take other people's viewpoint and perspective to learn something. He is very much always open to learning from others. It's just he takes losing very hard, and he takes losing as very much his own fault rather than the fault is that whereas in the anime he takes losing as a chance to an opportunity to learn. In the manga, he very much takes every loss he has as I wasn't enough. I just couldn't. The fault is at me. It's not that my opponent was way better than me. I should have been able to solve this problem. And it's such a small difference in a way, because like if you watch the anime and read the manga, it's just like subtle details in how they interact, because like they typically interact the same way, but Yamamoto is very much a more mature character in manga. He's mature and childish at the same time. Rather than the anime, he's very much he feels like a mature figure, but at the same time he feels dense. Like you can't ask him for advice because he's just too dense to really get it. Rather than the manga, it's very clear you can't really ask him for advice because he himself doesn't know the answer to them. It's not that they want to exclude him from like asking questions or anything like that, but it's more so just like their exclusion to him is more so a worry rather than it's more of a concern rather than a worry. Because yes, in the anime they try to keep it hush hush that all this is mafia battles and stuff like that. And in the anime, they very much make it seem like he doesn't know, but in the manga, he does know. He just, in his own way, he's trying to make sure that Suna and Gogadera aren't concerned with him. And it's so weird how much of a difference the character is. He's a really in-deep character that I really wish I could talk fully about. But again, as I stated before, we can't really talk about him fully because we don't have most of the materials that like we don't have the anime fully dubbed. The only real way we have to connect to Hitman Reborn is through the anime, and sadly we miss a lot of Yamamoto's like greater character in the anime. But that's enough talking and yapping. The episode is about to end, so thank you guys so much for watching again. I'm really happy to be able to go through Hitman Reborn, talk about it a lot more, and talk about like how much I really do like this series. Because like even though I've been dunking on the anime, I still do appreciate that the anime exists, and I do actually like the anime. It's just some changes that I find questionable. But anyway, bye!